Hello and welcome to LabRide. Today's episode could also be called How Not to Make a Waterskin, because I've tried and I failed. But I'm currently doing a lot of experimenting on this channel, and at least I learn something from these experiments and I can share what I've learned with you guys. One thing I've learned is how not to make a waterskin, but I now got an idea how this could work, at least in a lab context. Not especially historical accurate, but it will look the part. I will put that out sometime soon, so if you're interested in that, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. The other thing that I've learned is that this mixture of beeswax and linseed oil that I've used to waterproofen this leather sack here is actually pretty good at waterproofing leather while still staying flexible. So this will make a good treatment together with a hairdryer or heat gun to waterproof your leather boots. And of course, similar to my quest for oilskin, this mixture will waterproof all of your clothing equipment, clothing bags, tarps, ground covers. I've been questing for the waterskin. Reason is, in role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, the waterskin is a staple item of any adventurer's equipment. It's the go-to way to transport your water, but I've never actually seen a real one. So, did some research online. You can get like cheap water skins or wine skins that are a plastic bag inside a leather bag. They are really cheaply made, the water tastes funny, and they break really quickly. I know because I had like 2 of them when I started out LARPing. To replace that, I've sewn a water bottle, a plastic water bottle, into a leather sack. That works really well, really tough. Water doesn't taste funny, but it looks like a water bottle is sewn into a leather sack, so not the ideal solution. So I was trying to find how these were historically made, but I couldn't find a lot of information online. The best I could find was a Wikipedia article where they said that people used to sew bags from goat skin that would be water repellent by nature to transport water. Emboldened by my experimenting with oilskin, I thought, yeah, I can get a bit of goat skin and sew a bag and see if it will hold water. Spoiler alert, it doesn't hold water. It leaks like crazy. And I don't know how I can improve on the seams to make it more watertight. Maybe you guys have a suggestion how to do that. What I will be doing instead is sewing a modern tracking water sack into this so it will hold water and look the part. Anyway, if you want to see me fail making a waterskin for 15 minutes, go ahead, like and subscribe and watch the video. The material I'm using is plant tanned goat's leather. It's very thin, about 1 millimeter. And this here hide got a hole near one of the edges, so I have to take that into account when making this cut. And after folding it, I want a bulbous bottom with no sharp corners. I want 2 places, 2 bulbs, where I can hang the final skin from. And finally a neck portion, a narrow neck portion where I can put the stopper into. Sewing this together will be much easier if I first glue it together. So I'm using my trusty Curvel Fix leather glue here. Same one I use for LARP weapons. I'm not too worried about later ingesting any of this glue. One, it's not water soluble. And second, there will be so much wax oil mixture covering the outside and inside of this that I don't think water will come anywhere near the glue. And I'm just going in a thin line all around the edges. I'm not waiting for the glue to start drying so it becomes a contact glue. I'm gluing it together right away so I can make corrections and get the edges all aligned without any nasty folds, as flush as possible. Using an awl, I pre-punch all the holes at the edges for sewing this together about 5 millimeters from the edge. Maybe you should do a bit more than I'm doing right here. I think at the beginning of punching the holes I was too close to the edge. On these outcroppings that will hold the straps to hold the skin, I go once along the inside. That will be the seam that holds the water in, and then I'm going once more along the outside. Since this is glued, I actually don't need this along the outside. This is just to make it look a bit nicer. And at the neck portion I'm going a bit tighter with the holes because I want the seam to be stronger up there. Putting the stopper in there will put a lot of stress on the seam. To sew this together I'm using leather string. This is waxed polyester yarn and 2 needles, and I will do a saddle stitch. That means I will go through the hole with 1 needle and then go through the same hole with the other needle, and this makes for a strong seam that won't wear away at the edges of the skin while this is in use. Well, this is a fairly involved sewing process. This takes some time. So I will be finishing this off camera. This took about an hour to sew. Once this is all sewn together, it is time to get the wax ready. I'm using a wax oil mixture because I want this to stay flexible. Different to a hardened leather bottle that is rigid, this one will stay flexible, and if I were to use pure wax, I'm worried that the movement would flake it away and the seams would become leaky very quickly. So I'm using a 50% beeswax and 50% linseed oil mixture instead. This here block is the leftover material I have from making my ground cover tarp. And that is about 5 parts of linseed oil to 1 part of beeswax. So I hope mixing this much beeswax into it will get me to about 50-50. Once this is all melted, this is not extremely hot, I guess about 50 degrees Celsius, maybe 60. Hot enough to hurt, certainly. So I'm putting on a pair of sturdy rubber gloves. I have been using this pair for so long and it's still working. Very robust. And I start by soaking the skin from the outside. I want to bring it up to temperature so that less material will stick to the inside. And look how the leather soaks up the mixture and how it changes color. Becomes this beautiful rich brown. I did not expect this, but I am very pleased how this turned out color-wise. I'm giving it a good soak all around and bring it up to temperature all around. Then, using this red pen and a faucet, so I don't spill the mixture everywhere in my workshop, I fill up the bottle with the remaining mixture, or at least with the part of it I'm not spilling into the pan. Slosh it around in there. Make sure it's really soaking into all of the seams. It's dripping now, but I hope this will be watertight once this has cooled down and dried. I got fabric to be watertight. I got fabric bags to be watertight. Surely I can make leather watertight, right? After that, I try to drain as much as the mixture out of here as possible using an hot air gun to assist keep this up on temperature and blow a bit of the mixture downward. Still think I've got too much mixture left on the outside here, so I'm using a paper towel and the hot air gun to wipe some of it away, and I'm really pleased how shiny this leather turned out after this treatment. Then I thought I somehow have to get this to inflate, and I thought maybe this stick and just poke it. That didn't work very well. So on the spot I came up with the idea of blowing air into it, like a balloon. And what can I say? That actually worked. Fill it up as much pressure as you can put in there, and then I prop it up and let it to cool down and dry. I let this dry for over a week until the smell of linseed oil dissipated, because I was worried the water would taste funny. But as it turns out, as you will see in a moment, I needn't have worried about that, because the main problem is it's not watertight. It's leaking quite a bit through the seams. And I don't think I can fix this by using other seams or by using just beeswax. But since I wasn't sure, I resealed the entire skin with just beeswax, making sure to really get into the seams and seal them as tightly as possible. Sadly, as expected, the water test once again showed the same leaks. So with this style of leather, maybe with thick leather, I know for a fact thick leather works. You can buy ready-made hardened leather water bottles, and since the leather is thick, the seam is secure, it doesn't move around, so the wax can seal it properly. But with this thin leather it just doesn't work. And if I were to use thick leather, I'd have a leather water bottle, but I was looking for Waterskin. Now I have one more idea. I've ordered a couple of tracking water bags, water sacks, flexible water bottles, whatever you want to call them, and I will sew them into the goat skin. I'm pretty sure that will work. Won't be historical accurate at all, but it will look the part. And in lab, let's be honest, looking the part is the most important thing. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.